Hello and welcome to the Psychotherapy Networker 2024 Breath Meditation recording. Please get set up comfortably. You might want to be seated, you may want to be laying down in a more restorative posture, or perhaps you want to be standing just based on what feels good for you today. So please just get set up comfortably, and when you are ready, follow along. Thank you. So anytime we're doing some sort of a breath or meditation practice, definitely is helpful to start by kind of settling in and getting comfortable. If we're feeling pain and discomfort, it's hard for your body to relax. It's hard for your brain to focus. So especially with the breath work, it's good to have some nice length through your spine because your diaphragm kind of sits toward the bottom of your rib cage. When that pulls down, it fills your lungs with air, and when you're kind of hunched over, it's just hard for your diaphragm to really be able to relax and do its job. So taking a nice reclined posture like this can sometimes be really helpful. But don't feel stuck in this first position that you made. Sometimes we'll land in a posture that feels really comfortable initially, but as things start to open up, you might not feel as comfortable. So please don't feel stuck. If you want to shift, move around, if you want to sit up, if you want to stand up, all good. Just kind of do whatever you need to do to keep moving towards comfort. So as you're kind of settling into that initial posture, next thing that can be helpful to do is think about what you want to do with your gaze. Some people find it natural just to close their eyes to focus more internally, but that might not always fit the bill. Like if you're super tired and you're like, I'm going to fall asleep if I close my eyes, totally fine to keep them open. Also totally fine to fall asleep if that's what your body needs for a few minutes. Also, if you're feeling a lot of anxiety or hypervigilance, sometimes it might be less relaxing actually to close your eyes and lose that visual feedback. Sometimes the brain just likes to be oriented to the space it's in. So if you do keep your eyes open, you may want to take a soft gaze, just trying to kind of relax your eyelids still around the eyes, even if they are open. So we're kind of finding that initial posture, deciding what we want to do with our gaze to begin with. Again, making any adjustments to those things as we go. Next thing that can be helpful to do as we're settling in is just to start to do a little bit of a scan through the body to notice where you may be holding on to some excess tension, just to see if there's anything you can let go of right off the bat. A few places where a lot of us tend to carry stress are the face, shoulders, and the belly. So we'll take a few moments to kind of breathe into those areas just to see if we can let go of any tension there. The exhale helps to engage that parasympathetic nervous system in the body. So that exhale helps to engage those restorative processes that help us feel good. That sleep, digestion, wound healing, relaxation. So let's try and kind of use that to our advantage if we are noticing tension in these parts of the body. So maybe starting by focusing on the forehead. If there's any tension or discomfort you're noticing in or around that area, let's just focus there as you inhale, almost like you're sending the breath in. And then as you exhale, just trying to allow those muscles to soften, to release when they're ready. Maybe shifting that focus to the temples. In and around the eyes. And again, any tension, just kind of breathing into that as you inhale. Exhale, just inviting that to let go. Scanning through the muscles of the cheeks. Noticing if you're clenching your jaw. If you are, maybe even giving it a little wiggle, helping those muscles loosen up. And always remember you have your hands to help you out too, right? So if there's a lot of tension in your jaw or elsewhere, you can always bring those fingertips up to do a little bit of self-massage. Just something that's always available to you. And once you've relaxed what you can for now in the face, just checking in with the shoulders. And again, just using that breath as a tool, just kind of sending that breath in where you're noticing that tension. Exhaling, just inviting that to release, to kind of drain out into the support of the ground behind you or beneath you. Knowing that we're not going to be able to relax absolutely everything right now, and that is perfectly fine. We're just seeing what we don't need to hold on to. Once you've relaxed, which you can for now in the shoulders, just checking in with the belly. A lot of us tend to clench our abdominal muscles when we're feeling stressed. When we do that, it encourages that kind of more shallow, rapid style of breathing up in the chest that exacerbates our stress response. So let's just take a few moments to play around with that style of breathing that's often called belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. I'm just going to talk about that for a moment because I think a lot of times people aren't given a lot of instruction and they start to kind of work too hard, like really using their abdominal muscles to push the stomach out and pull the stomach back in when we want to take just a little bit more of a passive approach. So what we're going to do first is just focus on that inhale. If it's comfortable to breathe through the nose, there can be some good benefits to breathing in and out through the nostrils. If you're congested or just kind of anatomically you don't get enough air through the nose, some combination of nose and mouth or breathing through the mouth, great option as well. So for the inhale, we're just going to start to take air in. It's going to travel down the airway in the throat. We're going to start to fill the top part of the lungs by the shoulders. As we continue to breathe in, the rib cage is going to expand out, sides, front and back. Eventually, we're going to take in enough air that diaphragm starts to dip down towards the belly. So it's just your lungs filling with enough air that causes your diaphragm to move down. So that's what makes your stomach rise. Your belly might not be moving all that much. So that's the inhale, just a nice, full, gentle breath in. The diaphragm gently lowers, the belly rises. And then the exhale is a release. We're just letting that air travel back out again over the upper lip and really focusing on releasing those abdominal muscles. So almost like your belly button just relaxes back down towards the spine. So let's just take a few moments to play around with that style of breathing. Just kind of notice what you're feeling. As you exhale, letting those abdominal muscles release and also maybe letting those shoulders relax down away from the ears. And as we move throughout this practice, just remember your mind is going to wander, you're going to get distracted. It's exactly how the mind works. And really, we want the mind to work that way, even though it seems really appealing to have total control over our thoughts and emotions. It would not be adaptive, because if we could completely control our thoughts, then we could sit down to focus on something like a meditation practice, and a tiger could pop out and we'd still be sitting there meditating, right? So it's actually a good thing that we get distracted by sounds, sensations, things around us. So just as you notice your attention getting pulled away, just kind of gently bringing it back to your breath, back to my voice. And remember, each time you notice you've gotten distracted and you redirect back, you're strengthening those meditation skills, you're strengthening that ability to focus, so that's a good thing. And in a moment, I'm going to take us through a few different types of prompts, just different things to try paying attention to so you can see kind of what works best for you, because everyone's a little bit different. And before we get into that, we're just going to take a few moments to get a sense of our baseline for the breath this morning. So if you haven't already, at this point, you can let go of that belly breathing and just kind of go back to letting your body breathe on its own. So not needing to control or manipulate the breath at all at this point. And maybe even just checking back in with your posture quick. Are there any adjustments you want to make to your posture or to your gaze to get a little bit more comfortable? So again, just give yourself that opportunity. Our goal, we're always just trying to keep moving towards comfort, not trying to fight through the pain. It's not helpful. And so as we're kind of settling into that kind of natural rhythm with the breath this morning, just try to notice a few details about that breath. So maybe starting by noticing whether it feels like you're breathing fast or slow. Does your breath feel deep? Like you feel that movement down in the belly, or maybe it's a little bit more shallow this morning. Maybe you're noticing more movement up in the chest. Maybe noticing whether your breath feels smooth and easy, or if it's a little bit more tense and rigid. Maybe noticing whether your breath has a steady rhythm to it, or if you're holding your breath at some points. As you're noticing this baseline, just checking in. Are there any adjustments to my posture, my breath, my gaze I can make? And as we're settling into this comfortable rhythm, we'll just take a few more moments to notice all the little sensory details of the breath. So maybe starting by noticing where you're feeling some movement in your body as a result of your breathing. Perhaps you're noticing your chest rise and fall. Or your belly moving in and out. Maybe you're noticing some slight expansion in the sides of the rib cage as your lungs fill with air. Or your back body expanding out behind you. Maybe you notice the feeling of your clothing moving as you breathe in and out. Or even just notice the feeling of the air as it travels in through the nostrils, down the airway, in the throat, filling your lungs. Feeling that air travel back out again, over the upper lip. Perhaps you notice the temperature of the air. Might even feel a little bit cooler on the inhale and a little warmer on the exhale. Even noticing if you hear the sound of your breath. other things are making more noise. Just taking a few more moments to keep your awareness focused on where it's easiest for you to feel your breath in your body. Where is that sensation most vivid this morning? And then next, whenever you feel ready, I'll invite you to try using some mantra repetition by syncing the words soft and belly with your breathing. So breathing at a comfortable pace. As you inhale, think the word soft, and as you exhale, think the word belly. So just kind of breathing at your own speed, syncing those words with your breath. And again, if that mind wanders off, just gently bringing it back to those words and to your breath. Soft belly. Focusing on those words for a few more breaths. And then the last thing we'll kind of play with our breath this morning is using a little bit of imagery. So still kind of breathing at that comfortable rhythm. When you're ready, you're going to bring an image to mind and then sync it with the rhythm with your breath. So first, just kind of thinking of that image. Could be anything, could be a balloon, could be a wave moving in and out from shore. Could be, your dog's belly rising and falling. So just kind of taking a few moments to think of that image, really notice all the details of it, shape, size, any textures or colors that image might have. Noticing if it has a temperature, particular sound. And as you're really holding that image in your mind, just starting to sync the rhythm of it with your breath. So watching that image grow and expand as you inhale. Or just watching it move in some way that makes sense with the rhythm with your breath. And just continuing to make those adjustments to towards comfort as they come up, just continuing to bring your focus back to your breath as it wanders off. Just sticking with that image for a few more breaths. Before we start to kind of shift from that more internal space toward this space we're all sharing, just take a moment to scan through your body. Just kind of notice what's there. Are there any physical sensations really grabbing your attention? Are you noticing any energy in the body or lack thereof? Anything that feels present, just noticing, not needing to do anything with that information, not needing to change anything. Often in these types of situations, we get really good at kind of disconnecting mind from body just because there's so much we're holding, so much we're needing to do. So we don't want to kind of continue that avoidance as we shift out of these more intense situations. So just taking those moments to kind of check in and scan. What am I holding? What's in my body? What do I need? Super important self-care practice. And as you're ready, maybe starting to take a few fuller breaths, just kind of gradually starting to wake up the body a little bit with some deeper breaths. If it feels good, maybe letting the fullness of those breaths invite in any gentle kind of weight shifting or stretching as we'll get ready to do a little bit of stretching together if you'll want to, but just kind of taking your time, making that shift in whatever way feels good to you. Giving your body those little movements. Kind of find what feels good.